Okay, so I'm just gonna make a short little video showing the editor and the basics of how to use it, just so you know in advance. So I'm not gonna maximize on play, just so I can explain something to you real quick. So on the left side, you have all these things over here. So these are things you're gonna fill out first before you do anything. So first, you have your file, your song file name. If you go over here, left side in your assets folder, I made a subfolder called resources, and inside that subfolder there's music. So in that music folder is where you're gonna place your music. You can't place an MP3 file there because MP3 files are patented, from what I was reading, and that you need a license in order to call the file through code. Like obviously you could just import MP3s, but if you want to call it through code, you need a license. I could be wrong, but that's what I read, and I spent like 5 hours trying to figure it out. But instead of going through all that trouble, we're just going to use a WAV file. So if you don't know what a WAV file is, it's basically just an MP3, but different. So how to get a WAV file? Just get Audacity. It's free. I'm sure you know what it is already. You could just drag your MP3 in here if you have the MP3 file. Then just go to File, Export Audio, and just save it as a WAV file, and then voila, you got yourself a WAV file. So once you got that WAV file, you're gonna put it in this folder, and you're good to go. So in the song file name, you're gonna write this name exactly, because when it searches through the directory, it's looking for that name. So, and it's case sensitive. So this song is called Battle Number 1 in all caps, and we're good to go. Then lane count, we discussed in class, we're going to do 6 lanes. BPM, this is very important. The entire game is based, not just this game, like all rhythm games pretty much are based around BPM. So if you have the wrong number here, it's going to screw things up big time. So if the song you're using is from a popular rhythm game, usually the BPM is out there. So it's really simple for you to look up. If not, you have to use a BPM Finder website. So over here, just start playing the song in the background. You could use another tab, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then as you're listening to the song, just tap to the beat of the song, and just do this for I'd say 30 seconds, maybe around 30 seconds, at least 15 seconds, because you want the number to be as accurate as possible. And then you're going to take the nearest whole number, because BPMs usually aren't a weird decimal. This is just human error. You're going to want this number here. So once you have your number, you're going to put it here. So I already know the BPM for my song. It's 200. And then the next 3 things are all for like menus, UI. Like this is what's going to show up as you're scrolling through the song list. So you could write the name of the song more formally, like instead of all caps like the file name is. Like that looks a little bit nicer. And then you could write your name. And then song art, you could import whatever picture you want. So just hit the open file button. And then make sure you open this drop down and click the JPEG and PNG, because it's just more options. If you saved as a JPEG or a PNG, you have more choices. And I already have the song brought up over here, the Battle Number 1 song art. And once you have all that, just click enter information. It's going to spawn all your lanes for you. And also, once you click that button, it's gonna, if you go to your files, wherever you save this project, if you don't have song charts folder already there, it'll create it for you, and then it'll create a subfolder based on the name of the song you're using. Then in this folder, it'll create these 2 files. These are the WAV file and the PNG that we just brought in 5 seconds ago. This last file, I'll explain that in a bit, but don't worry about that. But when you hit the enter save button, the enter information button, it's going to create the subfolder and it's going to keep all your stuff here, just so you know in advance. So once you have this, I'll maximize on play now, make it a bit bigger. You have 4 main tools here, just based on what we discussed in class. Obviously, if it was a different type of game, I could add more or less. But your first option here I don't have an official word. I'm just gonna call it the song progress tool. If you click just wherever, it'll bring the song tracker thing wherever you want. So if I go to the beginning, it's just gonna play the song from the beginning. It's like that's the beginning of the song. But if I were to just click all the way over here, it'll start to play the song from there. So that's obviously useful. I don't have to explain why that's useful. Over here we have your basic note, and all the notes are based on this right here. These are different types of notes. By default, it's on 8th note, and for the most part, I would recommend just keeping it that way. But 16th notes are going to be useful also. So 8th notes and 16th notes, I would stick to mostly. On the super rare occasions, you'll need a 124th note, and the 132nd notes are super fast. You're probably not going to need them, but if you want to, they're there for you to use. But I'm just going to use 8th note. I'll show you. An 8th note is every half beat, so it snaps to the grid, so that the song is like plays perfectly in beat. And then 16th note is half that, as you can see. 24th notes, they're weird. They're like slightly in between. And then if you right click, it'll delete wherever you clicked. And then there's 32nd notes. Forgot if I said already, if you right click, it deletes it. And then also hold notes, like this is more for like preventative measures, where it deletes all the notes if you do a hold note on top of it. That way, so when you're doing a hold note, you can't accidentally spawn notes on top of it. That would be impossible to press because you're holding down the button. But I just use it also as a big eraser. Just multi-purpose, you know. Okay. Also, going with that, we have the hold note. So you just drag it, and then it grows, and then if you want it to go to the next lane, just drag it over to the next lane. And then this also snaps the grid. And lastly, we have this red one. We discussed in class where we want like an error or like a bad note, the don't touch this note button. So it's basically just like the regular note, but it's red. Nothing really to say about that. Okay, so next we have the offset and the assist tick. These are also very important. The assist tick, when you place a note, and as you run through the song, when the song gets to the note, it's gonna play a tick. That's when you have that checked. This is really helpful so that you can audibly hear how your chart sounds, if that makes any sense. If you're familiar with this, you know what I mean. But sometimes it's hard to tell just by looking at the bar go through the lanes that your chart makes sense, like rhythmly. No, sorry, I don't know the word. Whatever. Yeah. So assist tick is very useful, but we also have the offset that goes with that. And the offset, I know for this song, offset is 0. I mean, not 0, -8. But just so you know what it sounds like if you don't have the right offset, I'm just gonna place a note on every beat. Now if you hear that, it's like slightly off beat. So you just play with this. I already played with it, and I know that the offset I like is -8. So if you play it again, it's more on beat, and that's very helpful because you want the song obviously to be on beat, not slightly offset, and it sounds weird. So once we have that, I'll just make a little thing here. Whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, so here's my little chart, okay, quote unquote. Once you have your chart, or if you, like you're busy, you're gonna come back later, just hit the save project button. And like I said, when you hit the save project button, it's gonna create this chart data.ss file. And that's going to store all your information, all the note data, like all your PNG file names, whatever. All that is going to be in this folder. It's a binary formatted file if you care at all. And then, so I'm just going to end this just so I can show you. And then you restart it. So obviously it's a blank slate. And you're like, oh no, where'd my chart go? You're going to load your project. You're going to go to wherever you saved this project. And then you're going to go song charts, the song you want. And then click on chart data. And it's going to bring it up. And then boom, here's my chart that we just made. I think that's it. That's the gist of it. Yeah, I think I explained everything. Okay, so yeah, that's the editor and how you use it.